The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor, spraying crystal shards across the room like deadly confetti. Yuna's perfectly manicured hand was still extended, her face a mask of cold fury as she stared down at the trembling server who had accidentally brushed against her Dior gown. "Clean it up," Yuna hissed, her voice like ice cutting through the chatter of Seoul's elite gathered in the mansion's grand ballroom. "And then get out. You're fired." The young woman dropped to her knees, frantically picking up glass pieces with shaking fingers, blood beginning to bloom where the shards cut into her skin. No one moved to help her. No one dared. They all knew better than to interfere when Yuna Park was angry. She was the fiancée of Ji-hoon Kwon, the most powerful mafia boss in South Korea, and she wielded that position like a weapon. "Yuna, darling," Ji-hoon's deep voice cut through the tension as he approached, his tailored black suit fitting his tall, muscular frame perfectly. His handsome face showed no emotion, but his dark eyes held a warning. "You're making a scene at our engagement party." Yuna's expression instantly transformed into a sweet smile, though her eyes remained cold. "I was simply addressing incompetence, my love. Surely you understand the importance of maintaining standards." From the kitchen doorway, hidden in the shadows, Petra watched the entire exchange with her heart pounding. She had arrived in Seoul just 3 days ago, desperate for work after her teaching position in Lagos fell through. The agency had promised her a good job with excellent pay as a domestic worker for a wealthy Korean family. They hadn't mentioned that the family was a criminal empire. "Remember why you're here," Petra whispered to herself, touching the small cross pendant around her neck. She needed this job. Her mother's medical bills weren't going to pay themselves, and her siblings back home depended on the money she sent every month. The head housekeeper, Mrs. Cho, appeared beside her, the older Korean woman's face stern. "You start tomorrow. 5 a.m. sharp. And listen carefully, girl. Keep your head down, do your work, and stay invisible. Especially around Miss Yuna." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "And whatever you do, don't look at Master Ji-hoon. That woman has ended people for less." Petra nodded, swallowing hard. "Yes, ma'am. But fate, it seemed, had other plans." Hey beautiful souls, before we dive deep into this intense story of forbidden love, power, and revenge, I want to wish each and every one of you the most wonderful holiday season. May your days be filled with love, joy, and beautiful moments with those you cherish. Ensure you subscribe now so you don't miss the daily drops of amazing stories. Now, grab your hot chocolate, get comfortable, and let me take you on an unforgettable journey. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single moment of this. The next morning, Petra's alarm buzzed at 4:30 a.m. She dressed quickly in the plain black uniform provided by the agency, her dark skin glowing against the crisp white collar. She pulled her thick natural hair into a neat bun and took a deep breath before leaving the small servants' quarters behind the main mansion. The Kwon estate was massive, a sprawling compound of modern architecture and traditional Korean design elements that spoke of wealth beyond measure. As Petra made her way through the pre-dawn darkness, she could see armed guards stationed at various points, their presence a stark reminder of exactly what kind of household this was. Mrs. Cho was already in the kitchen, barking orders at the other staff members. "You. New girl. Petra, was it?" "Yes, ma'am. Take this breakfast tray to Master Ji-hoon's private study. 3rd floor, East Wing. Knock twice, wait for permission, enter with your eyes down, leave the tray on the side table, and exit. Don't speak unless spoken to." Petra took the heavy silver tray, her hands steady despite her nervousness. She navigated the mansion's corridors, marveling despite herself at the priceless artwork adorning the walls. She found the study and knocked twice, her heart hammering. "Enter." The voice was deep, commanding. She pushed the door open with her hip, eyes obediently lowered, and stepped inside. The room smelled of expensive cologne and old leather. She moved toward where she assumed the side table would be, but in her nervousness, she didn't see the corner of the ornate rug that had flipped up. Petra stumbled, the tray tilting dangerously. Hot coffee began to spill, and she knew in that split second that she was about to destroy a very expensive carpet in a very dangerous man's study. Strong hands caught the tray, steadying it in her. She gasped, looking up instinctively, and found herself staring into the darkest, most intense eyes she had ever seen. Ji-hoon Kwon stood inches from her, so close she could see the faint scar above his left eyebrow, could smell the sandalwood of his cologne. He was even more intimidating up close, his presence commanding, dangerous, and yet careful, he said softly, his eyes searching her face with an expression she couldn't read. "You're new." Yes, sir. "I'm so sorry, sir." "It won't happen again." Petra stepped back quickly, her skin burning where his hands had touched her arms. Ji-hoon set the tray down himself, his movements controlled and precise. "You're the one from Nigeria." "Yes, sir." "Lagos. You speak Korean well." "I studied it in university, sir. I was a language teacher before." She trailed off, realizing she was speaking too much. For the first time in longer than he could remember, Ji-hoon felt something stir in his chest. Interest. Curiosity. This woman, with her warm brown skin, intelligent eyes, and nervous grace, was nothing like the cold, calculating people who usually surrounded him. There was something genuine about her, something real. "What's your name?" "Petra, sir." "Petra Okonkwo." "Petra," he repeated, the name rolling off his tongue with his Korean accent. "It suits you." The moment stretched between them, charged with something neither of them could name. Then the study door burst open, and Yuna swept in wearing a silk robe, her expression thunderous. "Ji-hoon, why are you, who is she?" Yuna's eyes narrowed as she took in the scene, her fiancé standing close to a beautiful black woman, an intimacy in the air that made her blood boil. "The new maid," Ji-hoon said coolly, stepping away. She was delivering breakfast. Petra bowed quickly. "I'll go now, sir." "Ma'am." She practically fled from the room, but she could feel Yuna's eyes burning into her back. The moment the door closed, Yuna rounded on Ji-hoon. "You were looking at her. Don't be ridiculous." "I know that look, Ji-hoon. I've been by your side for 3 years, waiting to be your wife. Don't you dare disrespect me with some common servant." Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. "Watch your tone, Yuna. I don't answer to you. You will when we're married." She moved closer, running her hands up his chest. "Or have you forgotten our arrangement? Your father promised you to me. Our family's alliance is what keeps your empire strong. You need me." He moved her hands away. "I'm well aware of our arrangement. That doesn't give you permission to dictate who I speak to in my own home." Yuna's beautiful face twisted with rage for just a moment before she controlled herself. "Of course, darling. I'm just protective of what's mine." She kissed his cheek, but her mind was already spinning. That maid would have to go. Downstairs, Petra leaned against the wall, trying to calm her racing heart. What had just happened? The way Ji-hoon had looked at her, the way her body had responded to his proximity, it was dangerous. Forbidden. Impossible. "Did you deliver the tray?" Mrs. Cho appeared, making Petra jump. "Yes, ma'am." "I'm sorry, I almost spilled." "But you didn't." "Good. Now, the main ballroom needs to be cleaned from last night's party. Take Soo-jin with you and get started." The next few weeks passed in a blur of work. Petra kept her head down, just as Mrs. Cho had instructed, but she couldn't help noticing things. The way Yuna treated the staff like dirt beneath her shoes. The way she would slip out late at night, returning hours later smelling of expensive wine and men's cologne that wasn't Ji-hoon's. The way the other staff members whispered about her, fear and resentment in their voices. "She's evil," Soo-jin confided one evening as they folded laundry. The young Korean woman had become Petra's closest friend in the household. She had a girl fired last month because Master Ji-hoon complimented her cooking. And that girl, she disappeared. No one has seen her since. Petra's blood ran cold. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying be careful. Miss Yuna doesn't tolerate any woman she sees as a threat. And I've seen the way Master Ji-hoon watches you when he thinks no one is looking. He doesn't." He does. And so has she. As if summoned by their conversation, Mrs. Cho appeared. Petra, Miss Yuna has requested you specifically to serve at tonight's dinner. Wear your formal uniform. Su Jin's face went pale, but she said nothing. That evening, Petra stood in the formal dining room, her hands clasped behind her back as she waited to serve. Ji-hoon sat at the head of the massive table, with Yuna on his right and several dangerous-looking men in expensive suits filling the other seats. She recognized one of them from the news, a politician who had been accused of corruption but never charged. Gentlemen, Ji-hoon said, his voice carrying the weight of authority. To new partnerships and profitable ventures. They raised their glasses, but the atmosphere was tense. One of the men, a heavy-set Korean with cold eyes, kept staring at Yuna with barely concealed lust. So, Kwon, when's the wedding? The man asked. Been engaged for 3 years now. Getting cold feet? Ji-hoon's expression didn't change. We'll marry when the time is right, Chairman Park. That's my cousin you're keeping waiting, the man continued, clearly drunk. If you don't want her, I'm sure others would be happy to. The temperature in the room dropped. Ji-hoon set down his glass with deliberate care. Finish that sentence, and it will be your last. Chairman Park laughed nervously. Just joking, Kwon. Just joking. But Yuna's smile was strained, her humiliation evident. More wine, she snapped at Petra. Now. Petra moved forward to refill Yuna's glass, but as she poured, Yuna's hand suddenly jerked, knocking the bottle so that red wine splashed across the white tablecloth, and across Ji-hoon's expensive suit. You clumsy fool! Yuna shrieked, jumping up. Look what you've done. I'm so sorry, Petra began, but she knew it had been deliberate. She'd seen Yuna's hand move. Sorry. You've ruined his suit. That's worth more than your entire existence. Yuna's hand flew out, slapping Petra across the face with a crack that echoed through the room. The men at the table looked away uncomfortably. This was not their business. But Ji-hoon stood up slowly, wine dripping from his jacket. Yuna. Step outside with me. Now. But Ji-hoon, she. Now. His voice was quiet, but it held such menace that even Yuna blanched. She followed him out of the dining room, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. Petra stood there, her cheek burning, tears threatening to fall. But she wouldn't cry. She wouldn't give Yuna that satisfaction. In the hallway, Ji-hoon turned on Yuna with barely controlled fury. You deliberately caused that. She's incompetent. Don't lie to me. I saw exactly what you did. And you will never strike one of my staff again. Do you understand? Yuna's eyes widened. You're defending her. A maid? Over me, your fiancé. I'm defending basic human decency, something you seem to have forgotten. I haven't forgotten anything, Ji-hoon. Including that I'm the daughter of the Park family. Your father arranged our marriage to unite our organizations. You need my family's connections, their territory. Without me, you're vulnerable to the other families. Is that a threat? It's a reality. She softened her tone, moving closer. Why are we fighting? I love you, Ji-hoon. I've always loved you. I'm just jealous. Can you blame me? You barely touch me anymore. We barely talk. And then I see you looking at her. I don't look at her. You do. Everyone sees it. And it makes me crazy because I've given you everything. My youth, my loyalty, 3 years of my life waiting to be your wife. What does she have that I don't? For a moment, Ji-hoon almost felt sorry for her. But he knew Yuna. Her love was possessive, controlling. It wasn't real love, it was ownership. Go home, Yuna. We'll discuss this later. She left in a fury, and Ji-hoon stood alone in the hallway, his thoughts troubled. Petra. The woman was becoming a problem, not because she'd done anything wrong, but because Yuna was right. He did watch her. He found himself timing his walks through the house to catch glimpses of her. Found himself wanting to hear her laugh, to see the way her eyes lit up when she spoke with the other staff. It was dangerous. It was foolish. It had to stop. But stopping was the last thing that happened. If you're hooked on this story, beautiful souls, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our intense romance stories. Drop a comment and tell me, are you Team Petra or are you curious about Yuna's next move? And smash that like button if you're loving this so far. Now, let's get back to the drama because things are about to get even more intense. 2 days later, Petra was summoned to Mrs. Cho's office. The head housekeeper looked troubled. You're being reassigned, Mrs. Cho said. Master Ji-hoon has requested you as his personal attendant. Petra's stomach dropped. I don't understand. Neither do I, child. But when the master requests something, we comply. You'll be responsible for his private quarters, his meals, his schedule. It's a promotion, technically. More pay. But. She shook her head. Just be careful. Being Ji-hoon's personal attendant meant being in his presence for hours every day. It meant learning his routines, his preferences. It meant proximity that made Petra's heart race and her common sense scream warnings. The first morning, she knocked on his bedroom door at precisely 6 a.m. to wake him as instructed. Enter, his voice called, rough with sleep. She pushed the door open to find him already awake, standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked Seoul's skyline. He wore only black silk pajama pants, his muscular back and shoulders on full display, covered in intricate tattoos, dragons, tigers, Korean script she couldn't quite read from this distance. Your morning tea, sir, she said quietly, setting the tray down and trying not to stare. Petra. He turned to face her, and she saw more tattoos across his chest, and scars, bullet wounds, knife wounds, evidence of a violent life. Do you know why I requested you? She kept her eyes down. No, sir. Look at me. Slowly, she raised her eyes to his. The intensity there stole her breath. I requested you because you're the only honest person in this house, Ji-hoon said quietly. Everyone else wants something from me. Power, money, protection. But you just want to do your job and take care of your family. Don't you? Yes, sir. Tell me about them. Your family. It wasn't a request. So Petra found herself talking, telling him about her mother's illness, her younger sibling still in school, her dreams of saving enough money to go back and start her own language school someday. Ji-hoon listened, really listened, in a way no one had in so long. And when she finished, he said, your mother's medical bills. How much? Sir, I couldn't. How much, Petra? She named a figure that would take her years to save. Ji-hoon pulled out his phone, made a call in rapid Korean, and within minutes, it was done. Sir, I can't accept this. Consider it a bonus for putting up with Yuna's behavior. And he moved closer, close enough that she could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. Consider it a gift from someone who enjoys your company. This is wrong, Petra whispered, but she didn't move away. You're engaged. To a woman I don't love, in an arrangement I never wanted. Tell me, Petra, do you believe in fate? I believe in God. I believe in right and wrong. And this? He reached out, his fingers barely grazing her cheek where Yuna had struck her. The bruise had faded, but the memory remained. This feels wrong to you. It felt like fire. Like electricity. Like something inevitable and terrifying and wonderful all at once. I should go, Petra said, stepping back. This can't happen, sir. I'm just a maid. You're you. And you're engaged. And I won't be the other woman. I won't betray another woman like that, no matter how terrible she is. Something like respect flickered in Ji-hoon's eyes. You have more honor than most of the men in my organization. Then honor my position, sir. Please. He nodded slowly. As you wish. But Petra? This conversation isn't over. Whatever is between us, it's not going away just because we ignore it. He was right. Over the following weeks, the tension between them grew unbearable. Every morning when she brought his tea, their fingers would brush. Every evening when she turned down his bed, she could feel his eyes on her. They barely spoke, but the silence was loaded with everything unsaid. And Yuna noticed. You think you're special, don't you? Yuna cornered Petra in the linen closet one afternoon, her voice venomous. You think because you're exotic, different, that he'll actually choose you? You're a fantasy, that's all. A brief distraction. I haven't done anything inappropriate with Master Ji-hoon, Petra said firmly, meeting Yuna's eyes. Yet. But you want to. I can see it all over your face. Yuna stepped closer. Let me tell you what will happen if you continue down this path. First, I'll destroy you. Then I'll destroy your family. Yes, I know all about them. Your sick mother, your baby siblings. It would be so easy to make them disappear. One phone call. Petra's blood turned to ice. You're evil. I'm in love. And I protect what's mine. Yuna's smile was cruel. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to quit. You're going to tell Master Ji-hoon that you're going back to Nigeria for family reasons. And you're going to disappear from his life. Or everyone you love will suffer. He'll know you threatened me. Will he? I'll be so sympathetic, so understanding. Poor Ji-hoon, abandoned by yet another person he trusted. He'll turn to me for comfort. We'll finally set a wedding date. And you'll be forgotten. Before Petra could respond, the closet door opened. Soo-jin stood there, her phone in her hand, recording. Got all of that, Soo-jin said grimly. Every word. Yuna's face went white with rage. She lunged for the phone, but Soo-jin was faster, dodging out of the closet and running. Yuna chased her, screaming, and Petra followed, her heart pounding. They ran through the mansion corridors, staff members jumping out of the way. Soo-jin burst into Ji-hoon's study without knocking, Yuna and Petra right behind her. Ji-hoon looked up from his desk, where he'd been meeting with his second-in-command, a serious man named Min-ho. What is the meaning of? Master Ji-hoon, you need to see this, Soo-jin gasped, holding out her phone. Yuna tried to grab it, but Min-ho stepped between them, his hand moving to the gun at his hip. Everyone calm down. Ji-hoon took the phone and played the recording. His expression grew darker with every word. When it finished, the silence in the room was deafening. Get out, he said quietly to Yuna. Ji-hoon, let me explain. Get out. His roar shook the windows. Before I forget that you're a woman and put a bullet between your eyes for threatening an innocent person under my protection. Yuna had never seen him like this. None of them had. She stumbled backward, tears streaming down her face. You're going to regret this. My family. Your family answers to me, not the other way around. Or have you forgotten who actually runs things? Now get out of my sight before I change my mind about letting you leave here breathing. Yuna fled, and Ji-hoon turned to Soo-jin. Send that recording to my private server. You did well. There will be a bonus in your next paycheck. He looked at Petra. You. Stay. Everyone else out. When they were alone, Ji-hoon moved around the desk, his eyes blazing. Did she hurt you? No, sir. Just threats. Threats against your family. Threats to make you leave. He was standing in front of her now, and she could see the rage and something else, fear, in his expression. Were you going to do it? Were you going to leave without telling me? I don't know. My family is now under my protection. I'm moving them here. All of them. Your mother will have the best doctors in Seoul. Your siblings will attend the best schools. They'll live in a secure apartment that Yuna can't touch. Petra's eyes filled with tears. Why are you doing this? You know why. He reached out, cupping her face with both hands. I'm done pretending, Petra. I'm done with arrangements and obligations and doing what's expected. You asked me to honor your position, and I tried. God knows I tried. But I can't anymore. Your engagement is over. I'll handle the fallout with her family. It won't be easy, but I don't care. His thumb brushed away a tear that had escaped down her cheek. Tell me you feel this too. Tell me I'm not alone in this madness. You're not alone, Petra whispered. But I'm scared. I'm so scared. Of me? Of what this means. Of what she'll do. Of losing myself in something too big, too impossible. Nothing is impossible. I'm the most powerful man in Soul's underworld, and you've brought me to my knees with just your smile. If that's not impossible, what is? And then he was kissing her, and she was kissing him back, and the world fell away. It was desperate and tender and inevitable, and when they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, everything had changed. I can't promise you a normal life, Ji-hoon said, resting his forehead against hers. I can't promise you safety or peace. My world is dark, violent. But I can promise you that I will protect you with everything I have. That I will cherish you. That I will. The study door exploded inward with a crash. Men in black tactical gear poured in, guns raised. At their center stood Chairman Park, Yuna's cousin, with a weapon pointed directly at Ji-hoon's head. Step away from him, girl, Park said to Petra. This doesn't concern you. Ji-hoon moved in front of Petra instantly, shielding her with his body. Park. You've made a grave mistake. Have I? I don't think so. See, my dear cousin came to me in tears, told me how you've humiliated her, thrown her away for some African whore. The other families are already whispering. You're weak, Kwan. Distracted. And weakness in our world is blood in the water. So this is a coup. This is business. Kill you, marry Yuna myself, absorb your territory. It's actually quite elegant. Minho's voice came through the door. Master Ji-hoon, we're pinned down out here. Park smiled. My men have secured the entire estate. Your guards are neutralized. It's just you, me, and a choice. Sign over your operations to me, and I'll let you live. You and your little pet can run away together, start a normal life. Refuse, and I'll kill you both. Petra's mind raced. She spotted it then, the letter opener on Ji-hoon's desk, just within reach. As Park monologued, she slowly moved her hand toward it. You won't kill me, Ji-hoon said calmly. Because the moment you do, the information I have on every dirty deal you've ever made goes to the prosecutors. It's set on a dead man's switch. Park's confidence wavered. You're bluffing. Am I? You really want to take that chance? In that moment of distraction, Petra grabbed the letter opener and threw it with all her strength. It wasn't a perfect throw, but it didn't need to be. It embedded in Park's shoulder, making him cry out and drop his gun. Ji-hoon moved like lightning, disarming the nearest man and using him as a shield as gunfire erupted. He grabbed the fallen weapon and returned fire with deadly precision, taking down 2 more men. The study became a war zone. Petra, the panic button under my desk. Press it now. She dove for the desk as bullets whizzed overhead, her fingers finding the hidden button. Alarms blared throughout the mansion. Within seconds, she heard the thunder of footsteps, Ji-hoon's real security, the elite guards who had been off-site. The fight was brutal and brief. Park's men were good, but Ji-hoon's were better. When the smoke cleared, Park was on his knees, blood streaming from his shoulder wound, surrounded by bodies. Ji-hoon stood over him, gun pointed at his head. You threatened what's mine. You know the penalty for that. Wait. Park gasped. Yuna, she set this up. She planned everything. She promised me your territory if I killed you. I know. Ji-hoon's smile was cold. Did you really think I didn't have surveillance throughout my own home? I've been recording everything since her little threat in the linen closet. I have her on tape planning this coup with you. Conspiracy to commit murder. Attempted murder. The Council of Families will eat her alive. He looked at Minho. Take him to the basement. Let him contemplate his mistakes until I decide what to do with him. As they dragged Park away, Ji-hoon finally lowered his gun and turned to Petra. She was pale, shaking, pressed against his desk. He holstered his weapon and moved to her, pulling her into his arms. It's over. You're safe. I've never seen anyone die before. Her voice was small, traumatized. I know. I'm sorry you had to see that. Sorry you had to be part of this world. He held her tighter. If you want to leave, I'll understand. I'll still protect your family, still help you. But I would never force you to stay in this darkness. Petra pulled back to look at him. This man, this dangerous, powerful man who had just killed without hesitation, was holding her like she was made of glass. Who had protected her with his own body. Who was offering her freedom even though it clearly hurt him. I'm not leaving, she said firmly. But we're doing this my way. No more killing unless there's absolutely no choice. No more violence for violence's sake. If I'm going to be part of your life, we're going to start changing things. Making your organization less about destruction and more about protection. Can you do that? Ji-hoon stared at her in amazement. She had just survived a gunfight and was now lecturing him on morality. It should have annoyed him. Instead, he found himself falling even harder. I can try. For you, I can try. Good. Now what about Yuna? As if summoned by her name, Yuna appeared in the doorway. Her hair was wild, her makeup smeared, and she held a gun in trembling hands. You ruined everything, she screamed at Petra. He was mine. My future. And you took it all. Yuna, put the gun down, Ji-hoon said calmly, stepping in front of Petra again. No. I've given you everything. I've waited, I've been patient, I've played the perfect fiancé, and for what? To be replaced by some nobody from nowhere? She's nothing. She's everything, Ji-hoon said quietly. And you know what's sad, Yuna? You could have been too. If you'd shown any of the strength, compassion, and courage that she has. But all you ever cared about was power and status. You never loved me. You loved what I represented. That's not true. Tears streamed down Yuna's face. I love you. I've always loved you. You love the idea of me. There's a difference. He took a step toward her. It's over, Yuna. The engagement is off. Your family will be contacted. And because I'm not completely without mercy, I'm giving you a choice. Leave Korea tonight, start over somewhere else, and live. Or face the council for your conspiracy with Park. You know what they'll do to you. You're really choosing her. A maid? You're throwing away our family's alliance for someone so beneath you. She's not beneath anyone, Ji-hoon said, his voice hard. She's worth 10 of you. 100. Now make your choice. Yuna's hand shook on the gun. For a moment, Petra thought she might actually shoot. But then Yuna's face crumpled, and she dropped the weapon, sobbing. I'll go. But you'll regret this, Ji-hoon. She'll never survive in your world. It will destroy her, and then you'll be alone, and you'll remember that I warned you. She fled, and this time, she didn't come back. We're approaching the end of this incredible journey, beautiful souls, but before we get to the conclusion, if you've been glued to your screen this whole time, show some love by hitting that like button. Comment below and tell me what you would do in Petra's position, would you stay or would you go? And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We have so many more emotional stories coming your way. Now, let's see how this love story ends. 3 months later, the Kwon estate looked different. The cold, austere mansion had been transformed with warmer colors, plants in the corridors, and most notably, laughter. Real, genuine laughter. Petra's mother and siblings had arrived from Nigeria 2 months ago. Mrs. Okonkwo was responding well to treatment, her cancer in remission thanks to Seoul's advanced medical care. The younger siblings were thriving in their new schools, and they'd even started learning Korean. But the biggest changes were in Ji-hoon himself. Under Petra's influence, he had begun restructuring his organization. The protection rackets became actual protection services. The loan operations became legitimate financial assistance for small businesses. It wasn't a complete transformation, he was still a force to be feared, but he was trying. The Council of Families had not been pleased about the broken engagement, but when Ji-hoon presented evidence of the Park's coup attempt, they'd had no choice but to sanction that family instead. Chairman Park had disappeared, and rumors said he was working off his debts in one of the southern ports. Yuna had fled to Paris, according to intelligence reports, where she was burning through what remained of her family's money. Petra stood in the garden, watching the sunset paint Seoul's skyline in shades of gold and pink. She wore a simple white dress, her natural hair free and wild around her shoulders. She heard footsteps behind her and smiled. "You're thinking too hard," Ji-hoon said, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. "I can see the worry from here. Just wondering if this is all real. If I'll wake up back in Lagos, and this will all have been a dream. If this is a dream, we're both having it." He turned her to face him, and she saw it there in his eyes, the love that still amazed her every single day. This powerful, dangerous man looked at her like she hung the moon. "The council wants to meet you formally next week," he said. "As my official partner. Not fiancé." "I was getting to that." Ji-hoon lowered himself to one knee, and Petra's heart stopped. He pulled out a small box, opening it to reveal a stunning ring, a deep red ruby surrounded by diamonds. "Petra Okonkwo, you terrify me. You've made me question everything I thought I knew about power, strength, and what matters in life. You've turned my world upside down in the best possible way. You've made me want to be better, do better. I'm still not a good man, but with you, I'm trying to be. Will you marry me? Will you stay in this crazy, dangerous, beautiful life we're building together?" Petra looked down at him. This man who had defended her, protected her family, changed his entire organization for her. This man who was still learning how to love but was trying so hard every single day. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and stood, kissing her with a passion that still made her knees weak. When they broke apart, both laughing and crying, the garden lights flickered on, and Petra saw that they weren't alone. Mrs. Cho stood there with the rest of the household staff, all of them applauding. Soo-jin was crying happy tears. Min-ho gave a rare smile. And Petra's mother stood with her siblings, beaming with joy. "You knew," Petra accused Ji-hoon, laughing. "I wanted everyone who matters to witness this moment. To see that the Korean Mafia boss has been brought to his knees by love." "By God's grace," Petra corrected gently. "I still believe that's what brought us together. Some divine plan that neither of us could have predicted." "Then I guess I should start believing too," Ji-hoon said softly. "Because only God could have sent me someone brave enough to throw a letter opener at an armed man to protect me. I had terrible aim. You were perfect." That night, they celebrated with a feast that brought together Petra's Nigerian family and Ji-hoon's Korean household in a beautiful fusion of cultures. There was jollof rice and kimchi on the same table, Korean barbecue and pepper soup, soju and palm wine. It was chaotic and loud and absolutely perfect. Later, as Petra and Ji-hoon stood on the balcony of their bedroom, looking out over the city, she thought about the journey that had brought them here. From that first stumble with the breakfast tray to a gunfight to this moment of perfect peace. "What are you thinking now?" Ji-hoon asked, reading her expression. "That everyone feared the Korean Mafia boss's fiancée," Petra said slowly. "Until the new black maid changed everything. You didn't just change everything. You became everything." He pulled her closer, his voice dropping to that deep rumble that still sent shivers through her. "You know what the men call you now? The Queen of Seoul. They respect you more than they ever respected Yuna because they see that I listen to you. That your word carries weight. I'm still just me. You're so much more than that. You're my conscience, my heart, my future. He paused, then added with a slight smile, though I have to admit, I do miss when you were just the beautiful maid I couldn't stop thinking about. Oh really? Petra raised an eyebrow. I could put the uniform back on sometime if you miss it that much. The heat that flared in Ji-hoon's eyes made her laugh. Dangerous woman. You know exactly what you do to me. I'm learning. She kissed him softly. But Ji-hoon, I need you to promise me something. Anything. That will keep changing things. Keep making your organization better. Keep choosing mercy when we can. I know you'll always be who you are, I'm not asking you to become someone else. But promise me we'll always try to choose the light over the darkness. I promise. With you by my side, how could I choose anything else? He was quiet for a moment, then said, you know, my father built this empire on fear and blood. I inherited it and did the same because I didn't know any other way. But you're showing me that real power comes from loyalty earned, not fear imposed. From protecting people instead of exploiting them. Your father would be proud of the man you're becoming. I hope so. But honestly, the only person I want to make proud is you. They stood together as the city lights twinkled below, two people from completely different worlds who had found something impossible and made it real. There would be challenges ahead, the council wouldn't always approve of Ji-hoon's reforms, and there would be those who would see Petra as a weakness to exploit. But they would face it all together. Tell me about our wedding, Petra said suddenly. What do you want it to be like? Ji-hoon considered. Something that honors both our cultures. Nigerian and Korean traditions blended together, like everything else in our life. And I want it to be a statement, that the old ways are changing, that love matters more than arrangements, that power without heart is worthless. You're getting poetic in your old age. I'm 32. Ancient, she teased, then grew serious. Ji-hoon, do you ever regret it? Choosing me over the easy path. He turned her to face him fully, his hands framing her face. Listen to me, Petra. You are not the difficult path. You're the only path. Everything before you was just existing. This is living. And I will choose you every single day for the rest of my life, no matter what comes. As if the universe wanted to test that promise, Minho appeared on the balcony, his expression apologetic. Master Ji-hoon, we have a situation. The Choi family is making moves on the Eastern Territory. Ji-hoon sighed but didn't let go of Petra. Can it wait until morning? I suppose it could, but... Then it waits. Tonight, I'm exactly where I need to be. He looked at Petra. See? Already choosing better. Minho actually smiled. Yes, sir. I'll handle the initial response and brief you in the morning. He bowed to Petra. Congratulations again, future Mrs. Kwan. Or should I say, Queen of Seoul. After he left, Petra shook her head in wonder. I'm never going to get used to that. You will. Because you were born for this, Petra. Not because of me, but because of who you are. Strong, compassionate, fierce when you need to be, gentle when you can be. You're going to help me reshape this entire organization into something better. We're going to reshape it. Together. Together, he agreed. They went back inside, where the celebration was still going strong. Petra's younger brother was teaching Sujin a Nigerian dance while Mrs. Okonkwo explained the intricacies of jollof rice preparation to a fascinated Mrs. Cho. It was chaotic and beautiful and everything Petra had never dared to dream of. Sujin caught sight of them and rushed over, pulling Petra into a hug. I'm so happy for you. I knew from that first day when you nearly spilled coffee on him that something special was happening. You did not. Okay, maybe not that first day. But definitely after the linen closet incident when I recorded Yuna. I saw the way he looked when she threatened you. I'd never seen Master Ji-hoon scared before. He wasn't scared, Petra protested. He was terrified, Ji-hoon said quietly. The thought of losing you, of anything happening to you because of me, it's still my greatest fear. Before Petra could respond, her mother approached, tears in her eyes. "My daughter, may I speak with you?" They stepped aside, and Mrs. Okonkwo took Petra's hands. "When you left Lagos, I was so worried. Sending my baby girl to a foreign country, to work as a maid. I thought it was the end of your dreams." "Mama. Let me finish. Now I see that it was the beginning. God had a plan all along. He brought you here not just to save our family, but to save that man's soul. I see how he looks at you. How he's changed. You've brought light into darkness, my daughter. Your father would be so proud." Petra hugged her mother, crying now. "I miss him so much. He's watching over you. I know it. And he's rejoicing." Mrs. Okonkwo pulled back, smiling through her tears. "Now, we need to start planning this wedding. A proper Nigerian-Korean fusion wedding. We'll need. Mama, we just got engaged an hour ago. Which means we're already behind schedule." Ji-hoon watched them with a soft expression, and Min-ho sidled up to him with 2 glasses of whiskey. "Never thought I'd see the day. The great Kwon Ji-hoon, domesticated. Not domesticated. Elevated." Ji-hoon took a glass. "You should try it sometime." "Maybe I will. If I can find a woman half as brave as yours. It takes courage to love a man like you. It takes courage to love at all, I think. Real love. Not the arrangement kind. Not the transactional kind. The kind that asks for nothing and gives everything." He paused. "I sound ridiculous, don't I?" "You sound happy, sir. It's strange. But good." The party continued late into the night, and when everyone finally left, Petra and Ji-hoon found themselves alone again. The mansion was quiet, peaceful in a way it had never been during Yuna's time. "Tired?" Ji-hoon asked, pulling Petra close. "Exhausted. Happy. Overwhelmed. All of it." She looked up at him. "Thank you." "For what?" "For choosing me. For changing for me. For loving me the way you do." "Petra, you have it backwards. Thank you for seeing something in me worth loving. For not running away when you saw the darkness. For believing I could be better." He kissed her forehead, her nose, her lips. "I love you. In Korean, it's sarangi. In your language, it's Ahuru Mg Ananya," Petra finished in Igbo, smiling. "I love you too. In every language, in every way." They stood together in the quiet mansion, 2 souls who had found each other against all odds. The Korean Mafia boss and the Nigerian maid who had changed everything. It wasn't a fairy tale, their life would always have edges of danger, moments of darkness. But it was real, and it was theirs, and it was built on something stronger than any empire. It was built on love. Beautiful souls, we've reached the end of this incredible journey. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe in love that breaks barriers and changes lives, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment telling me your favorite moment from this story, and please subscribe to the channel because we have so many more beautiful, emotional, dramatic stories coming your way. Share this with someone who loves a good romance, and remember, love knows no boundaries, no borders, no limits. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, keep believing in love. Merry Christmas, and God bless you all.